In the long history of humankind, there are stories that seem almost like legends, yet they carry timeless lessons for generations. One of the most remarkable tales comes from ancient Greece, the story of Milo, a young man who proved that extraordinary strength doesn't come from sudden greatness, but from simple practice repeated every single day. Milo was born in a quiet village. As a child, he wasn't the strongest or the most outstanding among his peers, but there was something different about him: patience. One day, as he passed by the village farm, he noticed a newborn calf. Looking at the small animal, Milo had a curious idea. If I lift this calf every day, then as it grows, my strength will grow too. It sounded simple, maybe even foolish. But that crazy idea changed his life. On the very first day, Milo bent down, lifted the tiny calf onto his shoulders, and carried it around the village. It was light, no heavier than a sack of food. The villagers laughed as they watched. Some friends teased him. "Milo, what are you doing? When that calf grows into a bull, what will you do then?" Milo simply smiled and said, "Just wait and see." The next day, he did it again, and the next, and the next. Day after day, Milo lifted the calf and carried it on his shoulders. The calf grew a little heavier each time, but because Milo trained consistently, his body grew stronger too. Week after week, month after month, this practice became a daily ritual. At first, carrying the calf was almost like a game, but gradually, people began to notice the difference. Milo's shoulders grew broad and firm, his legs became solid, and his back straight and unyielding. A year passed. The little calf had now grown into a massive bull, weighing hundreds of kilograms, and yet unbelievably Milo could still hoist it onto his shoulders and walk proudly through the village. The people who once mocked him no longer laughed. Instead, they looked at him with awe and admiration. From an ordinary young man, Milo had transformed into a symbol of strength and persistence. That story turned into a legend, retold again and again, not merely because of Milo's extraordinary power, but because of the profound lesson hidden within. Simple practice, done consistently, can produce results far beyond imagination. Today, when we recall Milo of Croton, we don't just remember a great Greek athlete. We remember the timeless truth he embodied. Strength comes from consistency. Think about your own life. How many times have you started something with excitement, only to give up halfway because it felt too small, too slow, or too insignificant? How many times have you told yourself, "I'll start seriously tomorrow," and that tomorrow kept repeating endlessly? Milo's story teaches us that you don't need to do something grand at the beginning. All you need is a small action, repeated every single day. Reading just a few pages of a book daily, taking a short walk each morning, writing a couple of sentences in a journal, learning one new word every day. These things may seem too simple to matter, but over time, they add up. They build strength, they reshape habits, and eventually, they transform you. The key isn't how much you can do today, it's whether you can continue tomorrow. Milo could never have lifted a fully grown bull on the first day. But by building strength step by step, he achieved what everyone else thought was impossible. And you can do the same. Success in academics, career, or life doesn't come from sudden leaps, it comes from steady, consistent steps. Remember this: strength doesn't come from fleeting motivation, but from disciplined repetition. One afternoon, While Milo once again carried the bull around the village, a curious boy ran up to him and asked, "Sir, how can you be so strong?" Milo smiled gently and replied, "I just started with something small, and I never stopped." That simple response is the essence of his legacy and a message for all of us. Want to change yourself? Start with one small action. Want to reach a big goal? Turn it into a daily habit. And one day, you'll be amazed at the strength you've built. When we look back at Milo's story today, we don't just see the image of a legendary athlete, we see ourselves. Each of us has our own little calf to lift some simple act, some small habit that seems insignificant at first. But if we have the patience to repeat it daily, it will lead us to achievements we once thought impossible. The power of simple practice is greater than you imagine. If this story inspires you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to spread positivity. Because success doesn't come from a giant leap, but from small steps repeated every single day.